Hi there, I'm Tiffany, sometimes known as Sparky Girl, and I'm here to show you my aquariums and my fish room today. Well, I don't really have a fish room, but I'm here to show you my aquariums anyway. So I became interested in freshwater aquariums when I was in college, so that's about 20-ish years ago, and ended up with a 20-gallon, moved up to 45-gallon, had the 45-gallon for 15 years, and then about 5 years ago, I got the 60-gallon cube behind me. And so for the most part, have only had one tank at a time until about a year ago. As I moved up in tank, I could get more angelfish. So as you get more angelfish, you get more likely to have a pair as they grow up. It just kind of happened naturally. And so I decided to be a little more purposeful and with breeding angelfish in the last year or so. And before, I didn't have multiple tanks. I didn't know about sponge filters. I actually got on YouTube initially and trying to figure out how to have the fry actually live, the baby fish actually live, and found out about sponge filters. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I not know this? So anyway, without sponge filters and without a separate tank, the eggs didn't really live in a community aquarium. They got eaten. So, and plus it just was kind of challenging because anytime there was a pair of angelfish spawning, they would get kind of aggressive, actually really aggressive to the other fish in the tank. So anyway, just got more purposeful. I decided to get some blue and Pinoy angelfish, some juveniles. They grew up. Some of the pairs are upstairs. I'm going to show you their tanks, show you the fish. But just wanted to share with you my 8 tanks. 2 have substrate. The other 6 are just bare bottom, and there's angelfish in every single tank. So the other tank with substrate is upstairs. It's a Blackwater tank, and I've been getting into rainbow fish a little bit. So I have some Threadfin rainbows upstairs. But most of my fish are angelfish. I have blue, Pinoy. What's behind me here are actually blue marble angelfish. I've been using this as a pairing tank, and it works pretty well. This is my only tank with a sump. It's the first tank I've had with a sump, and that's been an interesting experience. But I can't put really small fish in this tank. Really small baby angelfish, just because the current and because of the way the filter works. It's just not a good idea. So these guys have been in here just a little while. There's a pair that was in here before, and I took them upstairs so that they had their own tank, and then put these juvenile marble angelfish in here. Also have cory catfish. In this particular tank, there's bronze corys. There's a couple of panda corys. There's black neon tetras, and then also some cardinal tetras. And so let me show you my tanks, and let me know what you think. I might have some questions for you if you have advice. I'm still kind of new to this, having multiple tanks, more than just one, and breeding angelfish, very new to that. So also there may be a few outtakes at the end, so stick around. So this is my main display tank. This is a 60-gallon cube. I use this as a pairing tank for some of the young angelfish. I recently went to Aquashella in Dallas, and I was very inspired by numerous things, and one of the things that I have developed a little fascination for lately is aquascaping, and I was recently inspired to completely redo this tank. I took everything out. I got some new driftwood that's actually attached to a piece of slate. That's the middle piece of driftwood. The others are leaning up against it. And moved some rocks around, made a little hiding place for some of the cory catfish. I got some plants at Aquashella. All the plants in this tank came from either Aquarium Co-op or LRB Aquatics, Lucas Brett's. So that's kind of what's going on here. They think that I'm going to feed them. I recently changed over to completely planted, like live plants in all of my aquariums. I sold all of the plastic, all of the silk plants, so We're just all live plants, so I am learning. There's all kinds of stuff I'm learning about. So that's this tank. Let's take a look at the side. This has got to be about the oldest cardinal tetra ever. His eyes are all cloudy. He just keeps on living. He just keeps on going. So next we have my little extra tank downstairs. This is a 9-gallon tank in my kitchen. These are my kitchen fish, I suppose. These are 9 angelfish that were less than dime size when I got them, and I know they've kind of outgrown this tank and they'll be moved soon. But when I got them, they were teeny tiny, and this actually has worked really well. They've done well in this little 9-gallon tank. They think I'm going to feed them, but I'm not right now. So there's 6 black angels, and then there's 3 koi angels in here. So they are, I'd say, around quarter size, roughly. They are always excited to see me. No matter what time of day I come in the kitchen, they're always excited for somebody to come over here and turn on some lights. And hopeful that they'll get fed. So starting with my tanks upstairs, this is the 29-gallon, and it has my 2, I believe they're called Super Veil blue angelfish. These guys grew up downstairs in the 60-gallon cube. I just moved them maybe about a month ago. Maybe a little more than a month ago. I was very nervous about moving them from that tank, but they're doing good. They're all fine. I've never had fish with such long fins, and I was just nervous. I was just really nervous about moving them. They're a young pair. They haven't actually spawned yet. But they seem quite cozy with each other. So this 29-gallon tank has the Zis filter on the right and then the sponge filter, of course, on the left. There's a lot of plants, or a fair amount of plants, some floating. Some of my other angelfish have spawned on just natural, just live plants, the leaves like these. This is a, I think it's called a Nubius hostifolia that I have on the wood. It's done well for some of the others. So honestly, these are my favorites. I don't name my fish. They don't have a name. I think the zebra one is the male, and I'm guessing that the one without the zebra stripes is a female just because it's a little bit smaller, but I don't know for sure. We'll find out when they spawn. So next we have my 20 long. That's a Blackwater tank with Nano fish. I just fed them a little bit to try to get some of them to come out. I do have a trio of Threadfin rainbows. And then there's quite a group of little dwarf Corydoras. They're Corydoras Hastatus. They're a really small cory. They're about an inch, maybe even less. Also have 2 angelfish in here that are kind of growing out a little bit. They were smaller than the others. And then there's a whole bunch of snails. They just, when I changed over to live plants, just ended up with snails in all of my tanks. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I just don't want them to take over. But they're kind of rummaging around and getting the food right now. I do have some other video of the Threadfin Rainbow, the male flaring at the females. He's not too concerned about that right now. There's some of the little corys coming out. They kind of hover. They're really cute. They hide a lot though. So that is the 20-gallon long Nano fish Blackwater tank. I am thinking about getting some more Threadfin Rainbows and would also like to maybe get a Nano Tetra in here, like maybe the green neon Tetra. I am open to your suggestions for stocking if you have some ideas. I will be moving the 2 little angelfish out of here. I'd kind of like to get a larger Blackwater Nano tank than this 20 long. I have some ideas to get maybe a 75. That'd be a lot larger. That'd be my largest tank. I have a lot of ideas, but we're working on putting all that together. I need to figure out where to put it. I'm not sure if I want to stack them. I don't know if I want to stack all the tanks anymore. The bottom ones are really hard to get to, and the dogs think that I'm down here to see them. Zoe! Even though I'm really not. They're like, you haven't fed us. Do you know you haven't fed us? Honey, I will feed you in a minute. I will get you in a minute. Y'all are cute. Anyway, so it's challenging in other ways too, having tanks right next to the floor. On the other side of the office, I have 4 20-gallon tanks. The top ones are mainly pairs of angelfish, and the bottom are juvenile angelfish that are growing out. So this is my Pinoy and blue pair. The dark one is the Pinoy, is the female, and then the brighter blue one is the male in the back with the zebra stripes. There are some violet corys in this tank also. I'm going to throw the corys a little sinking pellet or wafer thing, and they will go crazy over that. And the fish might want that too. But eventually the cory catfish will get it. So under them is the tank that has some of their babies in it. So these guys are about 3 months old. There's also a couple of panda cory catfish in this tank. They are active little things. No, honey. No, honey. Then up here is my koi pair of angels. They are always very interested in getting fed. So let's grab them a little bit of food. They are very aggressive eaters. There's also some cory catfish in this tank. There's a couple of Julii corys in here, and also 2 of the salt and pepper corys. And the angelfish like these sinking wafer things too. Then below them are some blue marble angelfish and some Pinoys that are growing out. They do not have cory catfish in there. I just threw a little bit of food in there. They are very active and like to eat. Let me get them a little bit more food. Honey bun. Oh, you're cute. She's like, I want the fish food. You're not getting anything. You're not getting anything. No, you're not. Okay, fish food for the fish. Honey, you've already eaten. You already had yours. I promise. No, get down. Get down. I did spray paint these 20-gallon tanks. I spray painted the back and the bottom of them. So the ones on the left, or the back is painted blue, and then the ones on the right, the back's painted black. I'm not sure if I have a preference. The bottom of all of them is painted black, so. At the time I was trying to figure out what I liked better. I'm really not sure. I think it kind of depends on what's in it. I've heard that algae is more obvious on the tanks that are painted blue. They have the blue background. Honey, no. Fish food is not for dogs. It's not for dogs. So that concludes my fish room, aquarium, fish tank tour, which is basically in 2 rooms, not 1 room. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I welcome any questions, comments, suggestions. I am thinking about getting a 75-gallon. I'm just not sure what I want to do there. Mainly, I don't know if I want to stack it. Part of me thinks I want to stack it because downstairs I could stack them. But then I think the bottom one would always be too low, and I don't know if it'd just be better to put one nice tank, good sized tank, on a stand instead of trying to stack them. Because up here I think it makes sense, especially for the smaller tanks. But I just think that whatever tank is down low, it's more difficult to get to, it's more difficult to see. So I fed them just a little bit more just to be able to watch all of them eating. I'm excited to see what these guys look like. A lot of them have stripes, like the male. Some of them have these kind of spotted pattern that's interesting. and I'm here to show you my fish room. And my puppy dog. And my puppy dogs. The other one does not feel very well, so she will not be joining us. Right, honey? Okay.